This podcast is proud to be part of the TalkSport Fan Network. TalkSport. Powered by fans.
A very good evening to everyone, whether you're watching us on YouTube, Twitter, or on Facebook. We're live across all of those three channels. I'm joined tonight by Chris Humphreys, who I had the pleasure of spending the last, about 24 hours craziness following Wolves to Dublin. Chris flew in a couple of hours before us, met us at the airport, and then a couple of hours through. We both had virtually no sleep other than today. I got in about 10 o'clock. I've been to bed for about 6 hours, got up, commitment to do the show. And Chris, you got in about 8?
Yeah, 8:30. I got back, drove back from Liverpool, got in at 8:30, went to bed, woke up at 12. Had a bit of family round, did a bit of gardening this afternoon, and then put the telly on and didn't see any of it several times, including the F1. So I watched the race and didn't watch it, but never mind.
As you do. Well, to be honest, I mean, the things you do for love, the things you do for the love of your football team. Obviously, Wolves were due to be playing Celtic in South Korea. Obviously, we all know that tour got cancelled by the promoter, rearranged it. Aviva Stadium in Dublin. Both, as a lot of Wolves fans actually that were probably watching and listening to this podcast, the flights weren't too expensive to Dublin. I've never been on a plane where you basically go on, you talk to a few people, and then it says within about, we're now going down to London. It's the quickest flights I've ever been. It's crazy. It's quicker than some people get to work. It's that quick. Never been to Dublin before. Fantastic city. Great vibe about the place. And obviously got to the Aviva Stadium. And it's basically full of Celtic fans. I mean, there was 28,500 there. There was definitely a couple of thousand Wolves fans there. But it was literally like a Celtic home game, really. Lots of Irish Celtic fans that were there. We went to the pub with all the Wolves fans before. We heard Bully talk.
Yeah, that was good. That was. I don't travel a lot now away with Wolves. I spent a lot of time living away from the area and came back, so my ranking points has been low down. So I don't do the away matches. Used to do it a long time ago, so it was very good getting in that pub, seeing all the Wolves fans in there. Bit of a sing song, and a lot of it orchestrated by Bully. He was doing a little bit of a
Steve Bull's actually got an airing.
Yeah. It reminds you of the days of going to places like Barnsley where you turned up, found a pub where you could see a couple of yellow shirts or gold shirts in those days in the window, and then everybody would be piling in, and eventually it was full of gold shirts, and that was it. Then it was a nice place to be for an hour before the match.
Yeah, it was a camp that quite good. We went to, and you have to say credit to Wolves coordinating with Irish Wolves. It was really great. It was a really great atmosphere and vibe in around the place. Everyone was in good mood. Spoke to a lot of fans. Interesting. Speaking to quite a lot of fans, how a lot of them actually didn't have this panic mode that some fans seem to have. Some did, but a lot of them were a lot more calm about where we were. In fact, even Steve Bull, when he was talking towards the end, was actually talking about calm and patience. So, but that's why I've put on here, panic or calm is the headline of today's game.
I think to be fair, Dave, I mean, we got into that bar probably a lot of them have been in there a few hours before we got there, hadn't they? So I think the calm might have done to the amount of alcohol they'd imbued, but people seem to be. I mean, it's good. Football's back. You got out. I was buzzing going to an away match and something I haven't done for a while. I was really. So it was difficult not to be positive, to to go and what you don't want to turn up to a match and be negative. You've got to get behind the guys, haven't you?
Well, it was
So
great.
I think
To be honest,
that was.
I think there's a couple of thousand Wolves fans. That was a big pub. It was a massive sports bar, humongous screen. Although they did upset Chris because Formula One was on the big screen, and then he went and they moved it off, didn't they? They put the World Cup on.
Yeah, they put Formula One on. So I thought, after all the Wolves fans had done their bits and Bully had gone off for another white wine or whatever he was drinking in the ladies' glass, and then I thought, I'll watch the F1 here for an hour and catch a sprint race, and then for some reason they turned on to Women's World Cup between France and Brazil, which is great. Women's football's fine. I don't mind watching that, but none of the tellies. There was hundreds of them, but I'm an F1 nut, so
you are an F1 watcher. You do love it. So to give you a sort of a before we get into the thing, and I'm going to give you the itinerary. Basically, I left here at 5:10 yesterday morning with the producer Emma, and we got on. We went from East Midlands, met up with Chris, went to a coffee shop, had a cup of tea, went to the pub, went for another. Found another pub after. I had a great burger and food, and you had nachos, cracking burger.
Camden Exchange, I think it was called.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Worth going. Anybody in Dublin, it's a nice place to kind of
And then we got an Uber down to the ground. He dropped us off. Brilliant. Turned out with the opposite side of the ground, the Wolves fans, because they decided on the day that they were moving everyone. It was sit where you want. But obviously putting a lot of the Wolves fans together. But the walk to the other side of the stadium was like, it wasn't like walking around. It was a long walk. So we got in with about 15 minutes to go. Got a decent...
And it was against a tide of most of the Celtic fans who were going the other way.
We were like salmon swimming up against the tide. There's so many Celtic fans there.
It was hard work, a bit unnerving because we'd had a bit of a costume coordination breakdown, hadn't we, before we set off. I'd said I wasn't going to wear any colours because I was a bit worried about the partisan crowd. You said, "Oh no, we'll be all right." So you thought on one. I said I thought on one. You said I turned up with the colours on, and you went neutral.
I said to Emma, I said, "What can I wear that's Wolves that's not Wolves?" So I wore my super dry top with the gold band and things and stuff like that. Because I thought, oh, right, I'll listen to Chris and stuff like that. And so, but it was pretty good. I mean, I know Nathan Judo did a tweet reporting that someone got a bloody eye or something, because there were a few Wolves fans dotted around the rest of the stadium within the Celtic crowd. Dinny being one of those, if you watch the post-match reaction, he's from Cork in Ireland. And he was sitting within the Celtic fans and stuff like that. And generally, though, it was good spirited, but obviously there might have been one or two that got a bit loud, lordy or whatever it was. And anyway, we don't really know the details on that.
Yeah,
but the game,
I have to say, we never saw any trouble.
No, we didn't see anything.
We didn't see any aggression, anything like that. Everybody was having a good time. We saw a couple of Celtic fans that obviously this morning probably were regretting their purchase of drinks from about 4:00 onwards yesterday afternoon.
Mate, I saw my niece's husband, partner, on the way out and on the way back. I saw him on the way back, and apparently he only saw 20 minutes of the game. He's like, Lee is my niece's partner. They've been together a long time. They've got a beautiful son, Grayson. Total Wolves. He left the Villa game. He doesn't go very, very often. He left the Villa game when we won 3-2 and we're losing 2-0 at 65 minutes. And apparently he only saw 20 minutes, which was the worst 20 minutes of the match from a Wolves point of view.
Yeah.
To go through the rest of the day before we get onto the topics we're going to cover tonight, and how you guys can get involved, is we finished there. We got we had another cup of tea on the way back. Then we went to a pub for a couple of hours, had a chat and a natter. A few Celtic fans were in there, no problem.
That was a great little pub we went to there. It was, I really liked it.
It was good, wasn't it?
very strange shaped, very long and narrow. Yeah, the town in itself, the city centre. I mean, it was just. I don't want to use the word buzzing because
I think it
that
was
kind of,
buzzing.
but it was just lively and people, people were out and doing stuff and even 12 o'clock at night, supermarkets open in there and people popping in and out and doing stuff and people walking around everywhere. It was quite good.
It was
I
good.
enjoyed it.
It was really good. Great city, Dublin. First time I've been. We went for a Nepalese curry. We had a curry.
Yeah.
Did that, and then managed to get all the way through to midnight. We had a final cup of tea in a Mackey's after we had a beer with the Nepalese. Then we went back to the airport. And then it was a case of like we've been going for so long without sleep. I managed to get about an hour on about 4 chairs, and my thing. You slept somewhere on it. You got about an hour somewhere. Emma struggled.
I just found a space on the floor, and slept there.
So next to no sleep. Gets back at literally 10 past 10 this morning. 29 hours straight, and then we've been into bed since. So we're here and we're committed, guys. So I know there's a load of people been talking in the chat. I saw some guy from Australia. So we've got 241 on with us live on YouTube at the moment. Let us know where you're watching from in the world. And this is what we're going to be. This is the agenda for tonight. So the agenda is, if I can find it for you. Here we go. So the agenda is this. We're going to be talking, obviously, about that Lopetegui interview that you did with Balegi, the Spanish journalist, his buddy. The Giles transfer to Luton. Obviously, we're going to be talking more about the Porto and Celtic friendlies. Fabio Silva is on the agenda tonight as well. And then towards the end of the show, you guys, if you've got any questions, me and Chris will do our best to answer your questions on your half. We've got Carlson White, we've got Worcestershire, Albrighton, Moxley, Anglesey. So we've got quite a few of you on at the moment. So if you're brand new, just so that you know, if you do subscribe to the channel, which I would hopefully that you most of you will have already done, you can get involved in the chat. You have to be a subscriber to be able to comment and get involved. If you enjoy the content, give it a like. So yeah, that would be amazing. Right, Chris, let's get stuck straight into this. Before we get on to the talking about the friendlies, of which we were, we're there first hand against Celtic. What is your personal take on that Lopetegui interview? Now, before I get started in giving you the answer, I had a chat with someone within Wolves about this interview. I can't say who it was, but it was someone within Wolves, and it was confirmed to me that this interview that Lopetegui did was without any knowledge of anyone at Wolves. He went and did it off his own bat in a hotel room with a top journalist who, is quite well respected, but we all know is his mate. They're good friends. He did the stuff with the tweets in May. Sound quality was pretty poor. It was a bit sensationalist in a lot of ways. Didn't tell us a lot that we didn't know, but it was significant because Lopetegui's done this interview. No one at Wolves knew about it. And I just want to get your thoughts on the interview itself and the way it was done, Chris.
Okay, not quite in the same camp as you. I know you've had that information regarding the club not sanctioning it. What I would point out is it was filmed in the hotel where they did the training camp.
Yeah.
So if nobody at Wolves knew nothing about it, he must have put a plastic bag over the guy's head to smuggle him
Do we
in.
know it was filmed in the hotel at the training camp, though?
I see. Yeah, because if you see some of the videos that they put out, they spent one day, instead of running around the pitch and getting fit, they spent one day trying to get a ping pong ball in the glass down the table, which
Yeah.
is a little bit strange. But it was in that same room. It's the same background, so it's
Okay.
definitely so that's what I think. Anyway, that's
But
me
I thought it was
analysing it.
more. I thought, well, I mean, I don't know. You might be right because I haven't really analysed it at that much, but it seemed to me like it was Balage's hotel room because,
Uh,
like, if
It
he
just
wasn't, I can't imagine Wolves media being very happy to have him around the place. If
I don't know. It's just what
you'd have
it's
to have
just
access.
it's how I kind of saw it. Um, First thing is the word is communication. So our owners, the guy that's charged by them with overseeing the club, Mr. Shee, what Wolves fans want from the club is communication. Um, we hear about plans and processes. They had a plan 5 years ago when they bought the club. They communicate that to us. That plan's gone. We're on about plan Z from that now. I'd like to have a refreshed statement from the club telling us where things are going. Because we don't get that communication, I would contend that I'm not so sure that he gets the communication internally in the club from She anyway. Lopetegui. I could perfectly understand that it's there's no cross communication there. So I could see, you can see when the guy, and I saw it on Saturday a little bit. The guy is extremely frustrated as a manager. You can see he, I think he thinks he's been dropped in it basically. So I can see why he's done it. I don't agree with it if it's all been done outside the club and it's no sanction. It's not been sanctioned. I think it's a bit of a strange. I don't know of a situation where a Premier League manager has sat with a journalist, arranged an interview to basically say the club's not doing anything that he promised, and this is the second one and time that it's happened. It's all changed. So, regardless of who, why, or what, it's very disappointing one way or another that it's happened. And that's my worry, whether there's going to be any downstream effects. Doherty's after match interview that was raised with him. He said, "Yes, we know there are problems behind the scenes at the club." So, I mean, that's a worry when you've got your players saying, "Yeah, we know there's problems behind the scenes," and there's lots of downstream effects from that. So that's I don't like it. I don't like where we are. I can see maybe why it's happened. I don't agree with the way he did it, but I also agree that something's got to be said. And apart from him saying something, nobody's telling us anything.
Well,
that's a worry.
I mean, I'm going to play devil's advocate as I always do on here. Matt Hobbs has spoken. He came out before the transfer window. He was very, very clear that this window, we were going to sell a lot of players. We're going to have to raise a lot of funds. That's clear communication from the club, who is basically the one step down from Jeff Shee.
Yeah, he did say
I'm
that.
going to come on to Jeff Shee because I think it's a fair point we talk about Jeff Shee. I did have I did have a quiet conversation last week with someone within the club, and they obviously see some of the fans, especially the ones that shout loud on social media, but also talking to me. I mean, you didn't probably you gone yesterday. Just after you gone, two Wolves fans came up and said, "Hi, Dave." They sat down with us. And it was really interesting what they were saying, because these were people that just normal fans like us, and they were not happy with Lopetegui. And there was a few people I spoke to that were not happy with Lopetegui on what he's done in the way that it's been done. Now, let's just be very, very clear where I am on this. I think Lopetegui is a great manager. He's an elite manager. I'm thankful that he's our manager. I'm glad that we've got him. They went out and got him in January. We got the man. We could have had Beale, which I think was a big escape. He's done a fantastic job all along. I've been saying about Lopetegui, what a great manager he is. This is phase 1. Phase 2 will kick on. I, like every other single fan, obviously is aware about the FFP situation. Lopetegui's gone through a situation where he's done it once with Gillum, with the tweets. You know, he's made his decision to come, and he's here. I will go back to January when he was appointed. Fosun, who some people seem to have this, let's get rid of them now mentality, which is within your right to be able to say that. He got all his backroom staff. They bought in and spent over £100 million on players. It was very joined up thinking. Matt Hobb, Julian Lopetegui, we've all on the same path. We bought in the thing. They backed him. They bought in money from this window, clearly, to put into that window. It's come. We've had the, what's going on, and the Gillum tweets and all of that. And is he going to leave? Is he not going to leave? And stuff like that. He's come. And, obviously he's made a statement that some of the things he wasn't aware of. They've had a conversation. He's come. He's our manager. This manager is paid shed loads of money. He's an elite manager. He has got all his staff that we wanted in, backed. He got players in he wanted in January. He's got in. I think he's obviously frustrated. He seems frustrated in some of the things that obviously have. I'm not personally, do not buy me personally that he has been lied to. I think there is maybe some things that he thought was going to happen. I don't think.
I don't think
it's somewhere in between. And let me finish, Chris. And I want obviously I'm creating debate here, and I'm playing devil's advocate. Because this guy is not naive. He's not thick. He's not stupid. He knows how football clubs work. He's not naive. He gets into bed. He's the manager. Also, Lopetegui, I'm a big fan of him. I like him and stuff like that. He did this when he was the manager of Spain. Spain sacked him for going behind their back. So he's got form with doing this. It's a trait that he's got, rightly or wrongly. And we're only hearing one narrative, which is Julian Lopetegui's narrative, because we really could do with hearing from Jeff Shee and from our chairman and coming out and speaking. And, we've heard from Matt Hobbs. The Giles transfer will come on to, it was made clear that it was Lopetegui that didn't want Giles. We'll come on to that in a minute. So all I'm saying to everyone, when we look at this situation, we need to deal in facts, not hearsay. And at the moment, we haven't got the full facts. We've only got hearsay. We've only got one side of the story. But there is substance in that side of the story, because after the match, he's come out and talked on, like you said, on Wolves TV media, saying we need to get players in. He's said it on actually within Wolves channels on that, which is good. And then we've heard from Matt Doherty. I hope I say it right.
Doherty.
Yeah, Doherty.
Doherty.
But he said the same thing. So there obviously is some definite truth in it and stuff like that. And there's some frustration there, but we still are not fully aware of all of the facts. So that's what I would say from that point of view. And from my point of view, I think it's not helpful for the manager of any football club going behind the media team's back. If it was in any other walk of life and you did that to your employees, you'd be seriously disciplined or even sacked in any walk of life. But he has got the trump card at the moment, and he's playing that card. Chris?
Yeah, Dave, I think a lot of that you said, fine. But if I go back to Hobbs did say we're going to have to sell some players before we add to the squad. That's what he said. That's what he actually said. So Which if you listen to the unsanctioned interview, that was what he was referring to as Plan A. We've got to sell players. We bought players in January, so I think he understands that. What I've got here is a feeling that there's a manager that is kicking off because he's not being given the direction or opportunity that has been agreed. And until we hear from Jeff Shee, we aren't going to know that. But I don't see why he would put the horse before the apple cart as he's done now, unless there's changes that the message has changed, or he hasn't understood the message in the first place. But he's gone off and done it. I don't agree that he should have done that himself. I think, and he's done it, but he's now done it right, like you say, via Wolves TV, and come out and said he needs players. We all know he needs players. We've got a Fred Bear squad. We've probably got a Premier League team and subs bench that I think will cope. And I use the word cope. And I think that the squad would be okay. However, it's a long season. If we get any injuries, that squad soon becomes not good enough, and then we will be in a pickle. And with all this onset and lack of clarity, this is why people draw their own conclusions. And it's a perfect storm at the moment. And I just think he's got to. He doesn't need to come out. I just read that comment. Doesn't need to come out and tell us Julian's wrong. We said this on this day. What fans want to know is, okay, Jeff, what's the plan now? Next 5 years, the European Champions League team promise that you said 6 years ago, gone. That ship sailed. It's where we're going now. Where are we? What journey are we on now? And I think because nobody knows, people just end up making their own conclusions. And having a manager doing this is pretty unsettling. So I get what you're saying. I get that side of the argument. I think in reality, like you said, it's not the far arc at left where it's Lopetegui going against the board and everything's wrong. Everything's rosy at the club and there's no problems. We aren't there, and I don't think we're at the other end where it's fantastic, fine, everything's going to plan, we'll be okay. But it's somewhere in the middle really, and that's where I think we are. What it's not good for is having this going on at this time of the season. I don't like it, and I don't like. It's fair enough him doing his interviews and saying stuff on club TV, but when you've got players coming back into the squad that've been there before, so you've got to remember Doherty was there in the Nuno days, so that was when we were buzzing. We nearly did it. We were FA Cup semi-finals, Europa League, a couple of little tactical mistakes. I think a couple of matches with a whole different thing. So yeah, and that for me as a Wolves fan is the most sustained, successful period. I say successful loosely because we didn't win anything, but it's the most prominent position as a Wolves fan I've had in my life supporting them. So there's a lot to thank Fosun for and what they've done. I think some of the angst around people are fearful of what's happened to the club in the past, and when we start seeing smoky mirrors, cloak and dagger, smoke without fire, people start thinking we've been here before, and we have. And I think that's why we've got this angst in some of the supporters.
Absolutely, mate. Adrian Witters to Chris, we're in a situation like many other clubs, agreed?
I don't see any of the Premier League team having the manager coming out saying that we've got no money, we can't buy anything. So I don't think we are in the same position as any of the Premier League team. I think all Premier League teams have got financial.
or maybe the other managers are a bit more disciplined in the fact that they respect how it is. And I'm not saying Lopetegui. I just want to make it clear again, because I know that people like Paul are pulling me up on here. Do I want Lopetegui to go? No. Would I prefer large back? No. Do I want Lopetegui to take this squad? I think Paul put. I'm just going to go back to Paul's last comment. Surely, if he's an elite manager, he can do something with the present squad. Absolutely, yes. Is that good? He can, and
Well,
I
I don't know, Dave. I mean, look, let's take it out of football. There's only so many things you can do with a potato. At the end of the day, it's still a potato. You can make it
do a
look
lot of things
different.
with the potato.
Yeah, but you can make it look different. At the end of the day, it's still the same thing.
Yeah.
So I yes, he can coach him, he can develop them, but that's some of them I don't think are developable. We might get onto them later on, but yeah.
And Mitchell Chambers wants to make a point here. Seems like a lot of supporters have forgotten about the spending in January in an effort to bolster the squad. A number of these players didn't work out, but that isn't due to Fosun's negligence, which comes back again to the recruitment. Although saying that most of the players in January did work out, it was the summer signing.
I think the January window was good. Summer was terrible. I wouldn't use the word spending for the summer. I said we spent wisely in January, but in the summer, I think we just wasted money, and that is down to scouting. That is down to the development squad. We know who was doing it before. The football development guy, Sellers. So that he was, and obviously he's moved on. At the end of the day, it's still the club that's spending the money.
Absolutely, we're in the situation now. So whilst we're going to come back to this in a second, but like, if there's anyone out there that can actually detail, because it's a point that's been made there about the spending up until this window, I want to know if someone watching this chat can tell me what players and how much we've paid for in the last 4 windows, how much Fosun Wolves have spent. And also, I want to know how much in the previous 4 windows, how much Fosun have sold players. And I just want to know facts. What is the difference between how much has been spent and how much has been sold up until this window, where we're obviously seeing a lot of players going out and about?
I think on top of that, Dave, what we need to look at, because people look at money in and money out. What we've got to also look at is what we spent, what we've still got left in the club, and what we think that's worth now. Because this is the problem. We've done the Neveses. We've done a really good job with him. We sold him on. Jota was a fantastic deal. We sold him on, although we've had it back at £1 a year for the next 48 million years, or whatever. Which has caused some of this issue. And you've got, and people say, why has it caused it? Because that income is spread over a longer period, and you're not getting that big hit back on the money. So that's what the issues are. But I would say we are now. If you go back 3 years and you look at what we invested and the value of the players we had at hand, I think we're in a great position. If you look at the players that we've got now in the club, what they're worth, I don't think so. If you go through, start at the top, Nunes. He's not worth what we paid for him, and he's worth a lot less this year than he was last year. Might come good, great, I get it, prospect, but we've lost money. Fabio came on this, he looked quite good. Don't want to say too much about that at the moment, but
we'll come on to Fabio.
He's not worth the money that we paid for him. And this is, straight away there, that's 70 million. That's what our problem are. Our residual our residual assets on our register, they're not worth what we paid for them. So that's the model when it started off great, where we were buying players and selling them. Brighton are doing it. People do it. You've got to do it. Because of financial fair play, you've got to cut your cloth accordingly. And you've got to get money by investing and cashing in on it when you can. The issue we've got now is that those investments have been not very sound, and we probably wasted money. Yeah,
Chris,
I mean, look at Polina last year. We could have got Polina and not bought Nunes.
Well, I know.
Look what he did.
Again, I know in regards to Polina, I know for a fact that that's probably Jeff Shee's biggest regret, because I spoke to someone who knows Jeff and talks to Jeff, and they wish they'd have bought him Polina. I mean, to be honest, Polina, I know for a full fact, thought he was coming to Wolves. He was ready to come to Wolves, and it was Jeff that decided no. And then we didn't get him, and then he's gone and been such a big success at Fulham, and obviously his value's gone up a lot because we've seen other clubs that are offering more money to get him. So that was a missed one. Value for money. We talked about Polina for about 18 months. Absolutely right in regards to some of the signings that were made. You know, paying over the odds. Geddes was a large signing, basically. It was offered, and that's how Morgan ended up going out the door. And Geddes come in, and it's just been 30-odd million of complete waste.
I just think it's wrong, Dave, to say this is what we've had in, this is what we've sold, because you've got to look at what we have bought and what we've got, because Chris, I think that's part of the problem.
I think we all agree with that, but like we can say we bought in Moutinho for 5 million, and how much did we get him? And Dawson was bought for 5 million, and what did we pay for Lamina? And Team Nunes probably was more than we want. But my point is, and I'm still waiting for someone to put in the chat what was spent in the last 2 years and what was gone out in terms of like the players. So please, if there's someone that can do that, I like to work in facts. And the point that I want, what I'm trying to understand by someone hopefully being able to research this and give that, it's not about how the club, sellers, Jeff, and all those have spent the money. It's about how much money Fosun have given and backed, and the people within the club. Are they the ones that spend the money? They're the ones that make the decisions. Jeff Shee is the one that ultimately... everything goes through Jeff. Absolutely everything. I mean, every little appointment pretty much goes through to be signed off by Jeff. He's literally over everything. Obviously, Sellers was involved. Now we've got Matt Hobbs that's involved, and I think he's done a decent job since he's come in January.
What I'd say with that, Dave, is if Jeff does that, Jeff maybe needs to find people under him that can do some of those things properly. So
we need a sporting director. Do you agree?
I think we need people in the club below Jeff that are empowered, can look at people, make decisions, and do elements of things without every bit of paper being pushed to the guy that's running the club for Fosun, and allow him to look at the strategical big buy decisions and look at it properly without worrying about signing pieces of paper to get painting done and stuff like that. That's the problem. If you get so much on that you're swamped, you end up becoming doing lots of different things badly rather than doing some things really well. So maybe yes, sporting director. I don't know the ins and outs about what goes on in the club and who is appointed to do what, and whether every single decision point in the business is coming back to Jeff City signed off. If it is, then that seems a little crazy.
No, it is, and I think it would help Jeff if we did have like a sporting director that could come in, because everything goes into him at the moment, and he should be overseeing everything. Hold on. We're getting some stuff coming through there. No, I'm not on about in this window, Carl. I want to know. We know that Boubacar's coming for 9. The last 4 windows, i.e. last January, last summer, the January before, and the summer before is what I'm looking for, is the total spend incoming and outgoing on those 4 windows. Anyway, let's move on from that. We've got our opinions and thoughts on that, and talking to a lot of fans in and around Dublin, there's a very mixed view, from people that are very sort of angry to people that are like not angry with Fosun, to people that are like not so happy with Lopetegui for what he's done. But let's talk about the friendlies.
Okay.
Porto and Celtic. What did you make of it, Chris?
I only saw the first half of the Porto game. I think I was away. Uh, High press seemed to be doing well. Neto looked like he was playing well. Reports back said it was reasonably decent performance. First proper run out, I think. Obviously, we weren't yesterday, and it was yesterday, wasn't it? Yeah, it was yesterday. I've lost my days this weekend.
I
Um, um, first 20 minutes yesterday were a disaster. Um, I don't know, I don't know what was going on. Dawson was all over the shop. And as a result, so was Kilman. We were being ripped apart. Lamina was doing his dropping back in bit, but leaving a massive hole that they were exploiting. I mean, it's a friendly. I don't want to say Brendan Rodgers has done his own work and watched us and come a plant a bit. I don't think they're doing that in friendlies. They're both concentrating on their own little thing. So first 20 minutes, I was
Well,
a
the
little bit
first
worried.
20 minutes we were being taken apart.
Yeah.
That Japanese lad was basically getting in the pocket. They were losing him, and he was causing all sorts of issues. And I think you said on the reaction it was like Celtic were taking it as a serious game, and Wolves were like taking it as like a bit of a friendly until they woke up. They did sort it out.
Yeah, there was a moment maybe after 30 minutes where he got in. He got in again in the pocket behind Lamina and came. Tried to go around the outside of Dawson, but Dawson had wised up to it then, and he just got his body in the way and snuffed it out. And I think at that point, then it kind of changed. We did well for the last 6 or 7 minutes of the first half and got going. And second half is a different story. I thought we played well. Yeah, but it's not just about pace, Craig, because it's about positioning. And what Dawson did was realise where he needed to be positioned to stop the guy getting past him, and that's what they did. But the first 20 minutes, it was running rings around him, and it was just because they weren't positioning themselves properly. And it was pretty poor. The second half, I thought we played well. Second half, the final third, attacking midfield side of the game, I thought we were excellent second half. We were getting down the wings, we were beating people, we were crossing the ball. Um, it was a good performance. Got the penalty. It was a penalty. It wasn't a dive, which is put away nicely. I wasn't confident he was going to put it away, but he did took it away nicely. Could I think I said yesterday it was a draw. It was probably fair. I could have understood if we'd have got beat 3-1 because that we were just so bad in the first 20 minutes, and then afterwards, we could have turned them over
Nunez
quite
missed a
well.
sitter.
And the first one, yeah, I don't want to get on the guy's back. I've said enough times that I've been on here what I think about him. But that nearly went out the stadium, and he was 6 yards from the goal. He didn't anticipate in the second half. He could have run onto one that came off the post, and it was a simple tap in, and he was caught on his heels. Great getting out of close control with the ball and break and surging forward. But I wish he would have. I wish I wish Nunez would do the bit, get clear, and get rid of the ball. Because what he tends to do, we end up not making anything of his good skill, and that's where I was. But I thought it was a good game. Subs came on. It's very interesting. Very interesting with Doherty, and Silva. I said to you, obviously, I said I can see these two linking up well, and it kind of worked to the reverse way that I thought it would do. So that's going to be interesting because you've got Semedo, who some people didn't play very well. I thought he was really good yesterday.
Yeah, I thought he did all right.
Really good attacking. We've got to understand he's an attacking force, and that's Dinny, and we crossing the ball in from the wings, and there's nobody getting on the end of it. This is what Sassa's there for. So I think you're going to see maybe quite a bit in the season if Sassa gets fit. Semedo crossing the ball into the box with him hopefully on the end of it. And then I think we might see a change where we bring Doherty on and he's linking up with Silva and coming in, which is really effective.
Can I come in on this point for Sean Walsh? He said for last season and a half, not really had a clue what the system is. Someone please tell me. I'll try to come back on some of the points that Chris has mentioned there. So Lopetegui tends to try and play more of a 4-3-3 type formation. You've seen that he's had Neto, Sarabia, Kuna up front. You've had Hodge, Nunes, Lemina in midfield, and then you've got your back four. Now, I know a lot of people have said about the wing backs. The way that Lopetegui plays or played at Sevilla, like you talk about Lemina, he has a midfielder that does the job of dropping back when the wing backs go forward. That player in this Wolves system is Lemina. Now, Wolves, as Paul, I think, has also pointed out, or a couple of people was pointing, we seem to be playing a much higher line this year. And as such, against Porto and yesterday, early doors especially, we did get caught with that ball over the top down the angles because it's quite narrow and they were getting in and we were losing players. Matt Kilman and Dawson especially were losing that chap and getting in the pocket. And then we got, like you said, he comes in the middle and then there's like a big gap for him to come through. That system, I think, can work for us, but the balance has got to be exactly right. It's got to be like a perfectly tuned machine because one mistake that doesn't coordinate, the gaps open up and it can be exploited. You talked about United and Rashford getting in that pocket, what they could destroy us with that.
Yeah.
You talked about that. But it did get better as the game wore on. Against Porto, we came out the blocks really early. What I like to see and what I've been enjoying with this Lopetegui team in pre-season, it was a similar team that he started against Celtic that he did against Porto. No Gomez started or anything like that. I like the fact, especially against Porto, we high-pressed. We hassled them. We got an early goal against them, very similar to how Celtic got an early goal to us by hassling out. I mean, Lemina had a great game. But he held on to the ball far too long, lost it.
Yeah.
And then
he had a square pass, didn't he? He had a square pass into Dawson that he could have laid the ball off twice. He didn't. Turned a little bit to the left. The guy got round him, got the ball off him. End of story.
That's what absolutely. Happened. And so my point is that we did learn as we went through. I thought we grew into the game. And we were creating some really exciting passages of play. It was the same old, finishing last ball. Kuna, had a great headed opportunity, went past the post. He nearly scored from a tight angle, which, as you said, Nunes didn't get onto the end to. Balls into the box.
He had another one where he got the ball. We attacked down the right. He got the ball, but he sort of screwed it wide of the keeper's right hand post with his right foot. He should have gone across the keeper, really. He had a few chances, Kuna.
He did. He did have a few chances and stuff like that. And I was quite impressed with him. And I thought, after the first 15, 20 minutes, Wolves were the better side. We definitely deserved a point, a draw. It was a penalty, even though a load of Celtic fans have left in the comments that he was a diver, this, that, and the other. It's like, at the end of the day, it was soft. Hart made an error. He did clip him. He went down. It's in the box. It's a penalty. If you touch the player and don't get the ball, I don't know what Celtic fans are watching. It's a penalty.
It's a penalty, Dave. What Joe Hart should have done is down his near post. Because Doherty had the ball virtually on the, it was virtually on the corner line anyway. He didn't need to come out. And he's created the opportunity for the penalty to be given. That's what he's done.
And it was a very well taken penalty as well. We put it away. I think it's clear that what Wolves have got we have a lot of talent in our side. We have a lot of quality in our side. We do. We've got about the first, I don't know, 16, 17 in the squad are quite, it's quite good up until that sort of point. It's after that that's quite weak, where the depth is, and that's the problem. I think, and what as the fans can see, if we pick up some injuries, as has happened in the last 2 or 3 years, we pick up 2 or 3 injuries, we're threadbare. Which is what Lopetegui wants: 2 players in every position. He wants to be able to swap and change. That's what he's looked at. We looked at when we talk about the Nuno side, how great that was. He used to operate on about 18 first-team players, a really small squad, and we were super successful. The squad that we've got at the moment, there's loads gone out, but it was too fat. It was too big. We've had to move players out, and what we need is somewhere in the middle. And I think with the players that we've got, if they all stay fit and he gets them playing, we'll be okay in terms of like staying up. But we're not probably going to pull up any trees. We need there needs to be another 3 or 4 players to come in during the rest of this window.
I agree. I think I can see every reason why this team, with 2 or 3 additions, would definitely leave us where we were last year. I would be worried if we didn't make any acquisitions. I think if we were to lose 1 or 2 players through injury, I think we'd be in the bottom. We'd be struggling, and that's my worry. If they come good and get 3 or 4 additions and gives us that depth. What I really would like to see, we talked about plans and processes a lot over this summer. I would like to see a plan of playing a different system, and having a plan B or a plan C, Z, whatever you want to call it, but a plan to play differently. If we talk about 2 players in every position, great, but that really means all you're ever going to do is likely play somebody who's not as good as in there in the first place, as that's why they're not playing. Of players that are going to play the same way, because it's 2 people in every position to set positions. I'd like to see us have a different way of playing, because we'll get, one thing with the Premier League is this is high level coaches, and they understand, and what a lot of coaches understand to do first is to stop the other team having an effect. And I think if we don't ever change our playing style, because we need to, we'll get found out quite easy.
Yeah, absolutely. And we have got to wait and see. I think that the central defender has got to come in. That Nico Elvey or whatever his name is from the Bundesliga. Hopefully they'll get that one out. The Scott thing's still bubbling away. It said that he's Lopetegui's primary target, so we'll see what happens with that. Obviously, Bristol City are trying to create a bidding war around Scott to get that £25 million. Obviously,
I think it's a spine, Dave. I think what we want is a spine. The 3 players.
Do you know what is funny though? I mean, we've got we'll quite rightly criticise overspending on players. 35 million on Silva, and 30 million on Geddes and stuff like that. And then you've got the thing with Scott, where they're trying to get value for money, and people are going, just spend an extra 5 million. It don't matter. It's like on the one hand, you've got like, well, they're not being savvy enough, that they're overpaying for players. And then on the other hand, you've got people that go, well, if they want him, just spend the extra 5 million. It doesn't matter. So you're kind of like damned if you do and you're damned if you don't.
Yeah, of course so. But that's created because we've got ourselves in a position where they do just spend the damn money and they've wasted it. So now people say, well, you've done it all along, so just carry on. You're arguing about 5 million. Just do it and get the player in. I can see why people get that way.
I can as well. It's like, if you want him, go and get him before someone else gets him. But then if he doesn't work out, why have we paid 25 million for him? It's kind of
what happens is what happened
last transfer, do you? Until you see him
playing. But we've talked about it already. Just think back to the summer and last summer, and look at Polina.
Well, exactly. But the thing is, that wasn't the fact that they wouldn't pay the money. It's the fact that Jeff decided he didn't want him. And
Because
large
of course
whatever.
he's an experienced individual in players and the capability experience.
He was coming to Wolves 100%, mate, and it was Wolves that it was done. He was ready to come for the fee that they wanted, and they decided for whatever reason they weren't going to bring him in. He's gone to Fulham. He's been a sensation. His value's now almost triple of what it was.
Dave, do you think if Jeff C came out in a statement and said, "Yeah, things have gone a little bit awry here, and this is what we're going to try and do, put on start, put things on the right track. We messed up last year with Polina. It's a big regret. I wish we'd have bought him. It's shown me a few things that we should think about as a club and change the way we're doing forward." No Wolves fans are going to slate the bloke for coming out and saying that at all. You know, they're not.
You know what? It's funny you should say that, because again, I had this conversation with someone from inside the club last week. Someone that's, that knows these sort of things and stuff. It was a chat, and I asked the question about, are we going to be doing an Ask Wolves? Is Jeff going to come and talk? And he's like, it's not his kind of way that he's done. I said, well, he's done interviews before. And he says, like, when he's done interviews before, things get taken out of context because of the language and stuff like that, and twisted and to a narrative that suits that person. So you kind of like, if he comes out and speaks, there is an element of the fan base that are going to go fair play, but there's another lot that are going to twist what he says, and he's going to turn it into something else that it ain't meant to be. And I think that's the reason why Jeff doesn't come out, but he could still release a statement or something.
We had this conversation, I think, with Dave yesterday. If you've got 40% of your fans that are on the dark side of the moon, and whatever they come out with, whatever they state, they're not doing enough, they're not doing it right, they're all useless, Armageddon, that sort of stuff. You're always going to have those people. You have people on the light side of the moon that will see the good, or see things differently. But if you don't say anything, what you're in danger of doing is turning the people that are on the light side into, I don't want what's happening here, I'm being kept in the dark, and they end up on the dark side of the moon. And that's what I think the problem is now. Don't not put things out because you think some people are going to slate you for it. That's life. Every decision we all make in life.
And if Jeff Shee and anyone from the board is watching this, maybe they do, maybe they don't, I don't know. But I think it would be good to hear from the chairman. If he doesn't want to come on to, if he doesn't want to go onto the Wolves channel, he's more than happy to come on here and have a natter with us, which is, that would be amazing, but won't happen. But I think it would be great to hear from the captain of the ship, from Jeff, because I think fans haven't heard from him for a little bit of light. And if he's got the balls to come out and talk and talk about the project and where we're at and stuff, people will listen. But obviously he's getting a bit of stick yesterday. He only in April and May, when Wolves and February, March, April, May, everyone was singing about Jeffrey Shee went to Monaco in his Lamborghini, bought us back a manager, and then he went and got Lamine. They're all singing about his shopping spree. And now
they weren't singing that yesterday, were they?
And now he's on a space opera.
And the thing is, Dave, that's the away fans, and it's like Bully said in that pub. The away fans are, they're the ones that have always been the force behind Wolves, and when you've got them singing things like that, then it's I just think they just need. He talked about being the captain of the ship. If the captain of the ship tells all the oarsmen where they've got to go, they all row in the same direction. Some of them may not want to go there, but they've all been told where to go. They all know where we're going. No, and there's no. It looks like we're rudderless at the moment. So we're going around in circles, going backwards, because we're not going in the same path. Here's the
answer to that question. Total incomes from the last 4 windows is saying it's 81.24 million total expenditure from the last 4 windows, 184. So that's a difference of 103 million. That's what that's being said.
So if you look at that then, Dave, 103 million, and you look at the first 11 that started yesterday, how much of that are you getting back?
Well, apparently the squad's valued, as someone said, it's about over 300 million. So we'll have to wait and see. I think it would be helpful.
Whoever says 300 million is looking in cloud cuckoo land.
Yeah, I think the message from here, from most fans here, is tell me if I'm wrong. If I'm wrong on this, say no. If I'm right, say yes. We would like to hear from our chairman, Jeff Shee, come out and talk, about the plans for Wolves, where we're at. Just be totally honest, transparent, where we're at. Let's see the other side of the balance, and come out and just talk. Some people might go in and moan about it, but a lot of people will give them if you come out, if you've made a mistake, I'm always one of these people. If something's gone wrong or you've made a mistake and you're man enough to come out and go, look, I hold my hand up, we've made some mistakes, we're listening to you, this is the situation. As I was told, Wolves are in a reset this year. Villa, people go on about Aston Villa. I've been told they're going to be in exactly the same boat as us next window. When it comes to next summer, that's where Villa will be, is where Wolves will be. Wolves are having to reset and be very creative at the moment. But we need to hear from our chairman, and we're asking, please come on. Please come on to Wolves Media, do an interview with Johnny Phillips or whoever it is, and just talk or put a statement out. Let's hear from Jeff. That would be amazing. And most Wolves fans will give you credit for that at the moment, which is just deafening silence, and Matt Hobbs is having to pick up the pieces. Let's move on now to some more transfers. Ryan Giles going out to Luton. What do you make of that?
Not happy. I cannot understand, and I know people will say Lopetegui's looked at him and doesn't want him. That's why he's gone. If we are in the dire situation that we are with investment and needing players to boost your squad, why on earth would we take paltry 5 millions, 1 millions, 2 millions for players like Giles, Sanderson? Why haven't we got Lembakisa in the squad? We've loaned him out. This is where you build your squad, and you have a squad, and these are 3 homegrown players that the club's invested lots of money in over the years to promote them through. And I don't think fans will get upset if we see these young kids coming through and we try and use them and at least prove, actually, sorry, then you've had a year, you can't cut it, we're going to sell you on. I especially this season where we've got this issue of potentially not being able to sign too much. I think we should have used them to bolster the squad numbers.
Absolutely. Now, I'm obviously going to come back on Giles, because there was a statement put out on why Giles has gone. It was made very clear in that statement that it was Dublin that didn't want him. I can back that up because I spoke to his agent.
I was there, Dave.
You were there. You were there.
So I get that, but was that before he knew what was going on? If he doesn't know, it's just so much conjecture. You don't know.
He told us that Ryan Giles has gone back to Wolves for 3 or 4 weeks. He'd like him to stay at Wolves. Lopetegui is going to make that decision. If he doesn't keep him, then there are two clubs. We were told the 2 clubs, Middlesbrough and Luton, that want to take him.
Yep.
And the fact of the matter is, which is why, again, I'm talking about, like, there's got to be some balance on this, where the insinuation is, oh, they're just sold out from under me. That's not actually factually correct.
No, I get that.
Most of the time, that is not true. He does have a say. And for a full fact, it was the manager that decided not to keep Giles. And subsequently, they didn't want to send him out on loan anymore. He's got to move. It is with add-ons, whatever they are, probably Luton staying up stuff. And like what Man City do with a lot of their players, they put a buyback clause in. So Wolves would get first dibs to buy him back.
But I get that, Dave, and I agree. And it was his decision, as we were told it was his decision. But did he make that decision not in the knowledge of what now has become apparent? Because it seems to me, going back to the Lopetegui thing, that I think he understood there were some boundaries in May, which frustrated him. And I think the issue, and I think it's right. The guy looks like he's scowling all the time to me at the moment. He's not happy bunny. Is it that situation has changed and he wasn't told about it? And has he made these decisions already because he didn't think we were going to be in this position that we now are because he wasn't told?
The way I understood it, and the way when we had that conversation, it seemed to me the way it was put across to me. Yeah, we'd like him to stay. It's up to Julian, but it was said we don't think he's going to want him.
No.
He wants, and I think that's just a decision that's been made by the manager. He's got you see who he's playing in those positions and stuff like that. Wang's not starting. Gomez hasn't been starting. Hodge has been starting in the middle. And you have to say, fair play to the manager, because Hodge was absolutely magnificent against Chelsea. I
think he was good. He was good against Porto as well, wasn't he? So,
maybe, you've got to trust the manager when he's looking at the squad to decide who fits in the way he wants to play best. And we do wonder why, we've bought in, again, Gomez, spent a lot of money. Joe Hodge, again, we got him, picked him up for the cheap from Manchester City. That's good investment, from their academy. And he's keeping the likes of them at the moment, 2 weeks before the start of the season, out thing. And he was brilliant. He was getting in for tackles. He was doing the simple stuff, and if he's the best one in training and he's saying, right, you're my man and I'm playing you, that's going to boost that kid's confidence up. And he looks like he belongs, didn't he?
So it should be. So that's good management, isn't it? He's seen him and he's saying, I don't know, Dave, like we say, a statement, a revised mission statement of where we want to be and what's going on this summer. It's just, if you heard something that could let you make sense of it, the thing is we just don't know, and none of us know, and anything that we hear, we'll conclude things. Some people conclude things different to others, and that's how we are.
Absolutely.
I'm so, I'm glad he's a local kid. He's for me. My son went to school with his brother. He doesn't live far from me, so but he does now. But he, to see him getting on in his professional career, great. I really would have liked to have seen him be given a chance in a Wolves shirt for a sustained period. I talked about not having a plan B, C, but turning those two fullbacks into wing backs and playing on the back five would have been a different plan. And then you've got somebody that is doing that in the Championship and was the best at it, which is a shame. But their decision's been made, and we just got to get on with it, haven't we?
Absolutely, the decision's been made, and we do wish Ryan all the best because he's been at Wolves for 15 years. Wolves have made a big profit on him. They will make more money on him. They've got an option to buy him back, and he's gone to a guy that is a big Wolves fan himself, Rob Edwards, who go to Luton. I wouldn't be surprised to see Ryan playing for Luton on Wednesday.
The only thing I'd say that, Dave, about we've made a big profit on him.
We could have made a bigger profit.
We've made a big profit on him based on what he's cost us, which is nothing because he's a youth player. How much is it going to cost to put a replacement in there for that caliber of player in the squad?
Mate, I agree. I think 5 million is way too low. But we don't know what the add-ons is. It might go up to 10 million. And as I say, Wolves put the add-ons. So they've tried to protect their investment. He's been on loan so many times, and it's not fair on the kid, really. Yeah, we're just going to keep loaning you out. He's had 7 loans, so you can understand why they've sold him. They've sold him to someone that has taken him from a young age, knows him well. Rob Edwards. Hopefully his career will develop, and maybe we will see him back at Wolves. You don't know, do you? No. Let's move on to Fabio Silva, mate. Came on for the last 15 minutes in the last two games. We saw him firsthand. The one thing that I will say about Fabio before we get onto the performance, he is a young man that was dropped into it when Raul got injured, scored 4 goals, 2 home and away against the Baggies. There's a lot of fans on social, as tends to happen, turn on things very, very quickly, gave him a lot of stick. We've heard about that, how that's affected him, how he's not really happy to come back in some ways. What was really positive away at Celtic, the away fans were there. You know, he was warming up on the touchline. They were singing his name, asking Fabio, give us a wave. He turned around, he had such a big smile on his face. You know, they sang his song and stuff like that. And he needs to feel wanted. He needs to feel wanted and appreciated. He's a young man. And it was good from the Wolves fans that were there that they showed that. He's come on. You've seen him firsthand yesterday for a short period of time. What's your take on what's your take on Fabio going forward? And you guys in the channel, I want to know: would you want to keep Fabio or would you sell him if we got 25 million?
My view on Fabio is if you've outlaid that sort of money, and I guess you sometimes want to take him out of the hostile environment that was being created. I don't think it was that hostile, to be fair. I think if you spend that sort of money, you've got to back yourselves and keep him and use him. So I think we've wasted 2 years with him. I know we've extended his contract to cover that, but it's not just about contract length and protecting your investment. It's about getting the asset into the squad and developing him. And I'm not so sure the first part of his loan has really helped him that much. Second one, I think, has turned him around. He looked fit yesterday. He had an immediate effect on the game yesterday when he came on. Like I say, I think he's going to work better with Doherty at the as a right back, because he gets the ball into feet, and he a little layoff. Doherty was in and got the penalty. So I expect him to be utilised. I'd be very upset if he goes, because then it's just fire sale time, isn't it? And then we can get it. But I think playing him alongside Sasa as a front two would work. So that might be the plan B. But yeah, he did well yesterday. Looks fit, looks enthused. I think we'll wait and see how he gets on.
Yeah, no, I mean, the one thing that I know Doc's, and they've had a little bit of criticism for bringing Doc in. I think that's really shrewd business on a free. Again, what Doc does do for you is, we've seen it so many times, the overlap coming in late into the penalty area. We got the goal for that. We talked about that before the game. It was like, you watch what happens. And you were almost right, because if Fabio had took the penalty, you'd have said Doc could have created it and Fabio finished it. But it was
what I actually said was Doc could get in and get Fabio in. And it actually happened the other way around. He came into Fabio, he did a little flick through, and then Doc was in and brought down. So, yeah, I could see those working. You could see how he was holding the ball up, and yeah, he looks a lot stronger than he was. He's matured. Let's see.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, the one thing that I liked when he came on was he was ultra positive. His movement is fantastic. The one thing I've always said about Fabio Silva is his move. You can't teach a striker movement, how they drop, how they go, how they run to the front post, how they make the little runs in behind. What you've got to have is teammates that can see those runs, see what he's going to do, understand where he's going to go to get him in. It's like if you had Haaland in Wolves' side last year, he would have struggled to have got 10 goals on his own, probably 5. You've got to have the players that have got the ability to make the right pass at the right time, to see the movement, to know what's going to happen. And although there was lots of positive against Celtic and against Porto, and we did get a good goal in the penalty area, actually 6-yard box, Neto, who's looked very, very promising. And we should have had another one with Neto coming across and, like you say, Nuno coming in, and then Nunes coming in and tap in. Kuna, played really well, but it was heavy on his touch for that one shot when he was in at 1-1. Should have been 2.
Yeah.
It's that final ball. We saw some of the balls being over.
Sarabi had a good effort as well, didn't he? If you remember, he had that little curl at the edge of the box, and that was close. That was a close. Hart was stranded. Yeah,
absolutely. So there's lots of possibility. Again, it's that final ball that they've got to get right. That we can see what he's trying to do. That I like the press that Lopetegui is trying to bring in. You can see how they're trying to move the ball and play out and pass out, and it's a bit more direct than the side-to-side crab stuff that we were seeing. Because of that, I think the defence is a little bit more suspect because they're taking more chances in terms of trying to play the ball out, and then mistakes are going to be made. We saw Sarr had a heart in our mouths a couple of times, but he did well playing the ball out. But again, we've got a friendly against Luton, where I think there'll be quite a few changes. We'll probably see, hopefully we'll see Sasha, Gomez, Wang, all of those that will start. And then against Rennes on the Saturday, we'll probably get a really good idea on the starting lineup that's going to be against United. Yeah. I'm hoping... Go on, Chris.
Sasha, for me, I'm concerned that we are not... I guess he's had a big injury, and I know what we did last year with him and rushed him back. I'm concerned he's not getting enough minutes early on. If you look at the time to develop him to play a full 90 minutes, I don't think we'll see that till maybe the end of September.
I think you might be right with Sasha. I mean, I really want to see Sasha Kalajic and how we can play with him and get crosses into him, because he's a tall lad, and maybe some of those crosses that were fizzing in yesterday were just going above the heads of everyone else. He would have been maybe on the end of them, but we'll see. And we'll have to wait and absolutely see with regards to that. Guys, this is the time of the podcast where you can now send in your questions for me and Chris for the last 10 minutes to finish off with. If you are enjoying the content, please let YouTube know. It takes you a second. Smash a like. If you're brand new or want to get involved in the chat, I'd just ask that you support the channel by subscribing and becoming a new subscriber. That would be amazing. So if you've got any questions for Chris from his take firsthand yesterday, or for me, or for both of us, go. Gaz Wolves, Chris wants to say, do you think 4-3-3 is the formation that he's going to go with?
I think it's Giles' formation. I think that's what he's going to play. What I'd like to see him do, which I mentioned earlier, is have a different plan. If that doesn't work, if we play 4-3-3 all season, a lot of the Premier League managers will find a way. I don't think we've got that much quality in the squad that we can play 4-3-3 all season, and other managers can try and stop it, but it won't work. I just don't think we have that level of quality. So having a different option, I think, is what I'm looking to see.
Peter, one of our fellow members who were members of the channel. If you want to become a member of the channel, we had 4 join last week. Make sure you do, and then we'll give you the link on the community tab to get onto the Discord, private members Discord. There's some definite debate that goes on in there. Will we spend anything before Man United? Peter doesn't think so.
I think Peter's right. You think Peter's wrong?
I think there'll be action this week. I think there'll be something coming now. They're back in England. I think definitely before United there'll be players coming in.
I hope I'm wrong. I hope all this turns into a load of baloney and we end up with 3 good additions and we move on and do well. But
I think at least one will come in before United. That's 2 weeks. I mean, but maybe a couple, but we'll see. And then the window's a couple of weeks after that. Paul 2011 question for Chris: why is Joe Gomez not playing?
No clue. Absolutely no clue. I don't know why he didn't play yesterday. I don't know why he's not being given the opportunity. He was fantastic at times for us last season. The transition movement 4-3-3 style we want seems to be what he's about. I don't know. I
I
was
think, do you
hoping
think
to
it's
see
because
him really
Hodge?
move on.
Do you think it's because Hodge is keeping him out?
Yeah, Hodge maybe has got himself, but yeah, Dave, I don't know why he's not playing. I
Well,
have to say.
it's obviously the manager's decision, and we'll see. I think we'll see Gomez play against Luton, and then be interesting to see who actually the starting 11 is against Renton. Question here, and thanks to the Darlington fan who subscribes. It's great to have you. It's great to have fans from other clubs, and we do wish Darlington well. Stephen Mayo, Stephen Mayo says, "Will J-Lo be with us when we sing in the new year?"
I'm not going to be singing in the new year, but I think he means bring in the new year. I have my doubts.
If you were to gut instinct, yes or no?
No.
Okay, interesting. I would think he probably will be, unless we'll
Well,
see.
the only thing that I think will, I'm thinking now. Maybe I'm going to change my mind.
It's one of them, isn't it? At the moment, there's a lot
What
of
we
so
talk
much
about
uncertainty.
business. What he did with the interviews could be classed as gross misconduct, which would have been an excuse to get rid of him without having to pay a contract fee up, and they haven't gone down that road. So maybe I don't know.
Well, he does.
I don't. I think what I'm saying is, it could be either way. I think he might leave.
Okay, well, we'll find out with that one for definite. See before in January. It'll be interesting to see. I'm hoping he's still here. That Wolves are doing all right and the mood's improved.
I mean, what we don't want to be doing, because it's been mentioned that one of the biggest things that have caused us to have this financial imbalance was the payoff of contracts with Bruno Lage and his team.
Well, exactly.
And so I don't think we want to be in the same position again. But
which is
if
why
he keeps doing interviews without the club being involved, it's going to happen.
Yeah, but and the reason I think he can get away with doing that because he holds the upper hand. Really, Wolves can't afford to do that. He won't walk because he's got to think about his staff as well. I didn't see a manager that wasn't giving 100% to coach the team or passionate on the team. I saw he was very passionate. He's fully committed to the players that he's got. You could see that.
The only observation I had from him yesterday was that
didn't come over at the end.
He didn't really come over to the fans and wasn't really giving us a bit of a clap back with any real enthusiasm. It was token effort and I'm off kind of thing, which I thought was a little bit strange in a friendly when we travelled so far.
Yeah, absolutely. Dave Boyle, Sarah Bentley, quick answers.
Jose Sharp all day long.
Yeah.
I mean, you saw it yesterday. We were right in front of it. There was 2 or 3 occasions in the first half where it was a sure goal and Sard came out brilliant, did a brilliant block, absolutely fantastic. He's got his problems and he's got his things that he's not good at, but he's a decent goalkeeper and he's been a bit. I think he's been given a bit of stick unwarranted, to be honest.
He did good. He played well yesterday. Sutty, do you think JLA will last the season? I don't think you can give a definite answer about any manager in the Premier League. You just don't know. What I will say, I hope he does, because if he does, things are in a lot better shape, and things can go happy. At the moment, obviously, there's a lot of uncertainty. I don't think it's helped the interview personally. He might. I think if he wants to come out on Wolves TV and say things on their media, which he did at the end of the game, he talked about wanting things fine, going behind people's back in life. That's just not me. I'm not that type of person. I'm try to be always open and straight, and I tend to stop trusting a few people if they start going behind people's back. But he's a good manager, and I hope it gets worked out. We get the players in. He has a good season, and he's here, but with any manager, you can't really know for sure. 2 or 3 players come call. I'm just looking at. Adrian wishes on a wider subject. Would we take Laurie Dalrymple back on a similar act or balance? He was quite good at
I
talking
think
to
I
fans.
think Laurie leaving. He's at Harlequins now. I think Laurie leaving. He was a bit of a crutch for Jeff Shee when he came in, and I think him going off the way he has done, and the club having all these kind of strange things happening in the background since then shouldn't be discounted as not the reason why. I have a lot of respect for Laurie. Um, you could tweet Laurie Humble, Dalrymple. Who's Laurie Humble? I don't know who he is. Laurie Dalrymple. I did once because the stadium was flooded where the seat was, and I had an email back and he told me exactly what he'd done and how he's going to get it sorted out. Just that he was a very approachable guy, and he was doing the bit that nobody is now doing at Wolves.
Well, you say that, but then Russell Jones was there yesterday in the pub talking to fans.
Yes.
So that's what
Russell
Laurie
Jones
used to
doesn't
do.
put statements out.
Laurie used to go into the pub and talk to fans.
Yeah, but he didn't just
Russell,
do that, Dave. He used to put tweets out, and he used to inform the fans on what he was doing on his Twitters and stuff like that. Not
yeah,
got any problem with Russell. He doesn't do that. So that's
Russell does tweet.
okay.
He does
I'm
tweet,
not.
probably
I'm
not
not
as
going
much
to
as
argue
Laurie.
with
And I
that
think
because
Laurie was very good with being with the fans, and that was great. And he went in the pub, but you have to say that Russell was in with all the fans yesterday
yeah,
and chatting away. And he's done it,
I
and
don't,
he has
don't.
done it, and he has done it previously as well. So
But
I
they're
think
not doing the same
anyone,
role, Dave.
if there's anyone, probably he's the guy that does that at Wolves more than he's the
Yes.
closest thing we've got.
Yeah, but that wasn't what I was asked.
Yeah, fair play. Well, you'd have him back though if you could.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he did a good job. Dinny wants to know how was the flight and
Crap.
sleep.
The sleep,
Mate,
the sleep for some of us was okay. I have photographic evidence.
I have to
I
photographic evidence of
did
you as
get
well.
some sleep later on, Dinny. I found a comfy seat and woke up to find a picture of me snoring or whatever I was doing on WhatsApp, which was not taken with my permission. So I'm not allowing it to be used in any online publication.
It was on
It was
Discord on the
yeah
members
yeah.
group, and you put me on Discord without my permission. Touche, mate.
Yeah, I know. No, it was okay. The flight was great. Great trip. I loved it. I loved it. I had a great time this weekend.
Mate, it was brilliant. We had a brilliant time. It was really good. I'm just looking down if there's any more simple questions that we can answer because it's gone on for an hour and a half, which is longer than I promised the producer. Well, that's a point that we've talked about. Michael Chance. I sort of felt sorry for the interview that JLo did with Gullum. Was more of Gullum stirring things up than JLo was. I suppose in the interview in the first place opened up the potential. It was loaded. No
Takes
doubt
two
about
to
that.
tango, Dave. So yeah, I guess he could have naively get put in that position, but he must have. I think that was a bad choice of things to do. But I guess if you are not being given the opportunity to do what you want, and the communication from your gaffer is not brilliant, if it exists at all, you might get frustrated and do what he's done. So I can understand it. I'm not going to slate him for it. I don't agree with it, but that's life.
Leighton, seeing lots of people putting Wolves in the relegation down. Do you think we'll be relegated, mate?
So I did comment in our Discord group about this today. What I said was that on balance, after seeing yesterday and seeing how he's playing and looking at what's left in the squad from before the start of the season, I think with three players, and it's the spine, it's centre half, midfielder, and striker. I think if we get three in, that gives us a smallish squad, but a squad that can hold its own. I think, providing there are no injuries. If we get injuries, I think we are in a jeopardy position. I can see us being where we were last season. I can't see us improving on last season. But if we get injuries and we don't potentially bring in these additions, I think we're going to have a very hard, long year.
Absolutely. Guys, thank you for all the questions. Thank you for joining us. We've had well over 300 watching live on the show. If you're watching this back on catch up, I hope you've enjoyed it. If you've enjoyed this show, please smash a like on YouTube for us. And if you're listening to it on Twitter or Facebook, we hope you've enjoyed it too. And if you're listening to it back on the podcast, as always, it'll be up on Monday morning. And Gaz, how do you subscribe? You are subscribed because you're commenting. You can only comment if you subscribe.
You can subscribe twice if you like. But
just become a member if you want. Though that would be amazing. So yeah, Chris, final thoughts for everyone before we finish.
I think what I'd say is it kind of starts now. If you've got these 2 games and Man United, I think yes, irritated, frustrated, annoyed with everything that's gone on over the summer. But now we've got to do what we all are, and we're all supporters. We've got to support them, and we've got to get behind them, and we've got to see out the season, because that looks like that's what this year's going to be all about.
Absolutely, well said. Absolutely well said, guys. I really hope you enjoyed. Chris, it's been a pleasure. I just want to say on record, mate. With everything's all said and done, guys, as Wolves fans, it was great to go to Dublin yesterday. I managed to spend it with this man here, Chris, one of our members, and we've got some great members and people. We don't always agree on everything. Sometimes we strongly disagree, but it's always done respectful, and people have got their views and stuff. But it was brilliant to spend a day with you yesterday, mate. It was absolutely fantastic.
Yeah, likewise. I enjoyed yours and Emma's company, and it was a great.
It was a great crack, and
even if the sleeping arrangements were pretty poor.
They're very poor. And regardless of what's going on behind the scenes, guys, when you get in the stadium, support the boys. The away fans did yesterday. It was great to see. It was great to be at the games. And there's a sign at Molyneux that says, what is it? It's our love, no matter our division. Let's hope it's still going to be Premier League, but time will tell. And the season starts 2 weeks tomorrow. We've got 2 friendlies to come up. We're going to learn a lot more. We'll be back again next week with On the Ball. Extra time will obviously be returning soon, where all of you guys can come in on the post-match show and talk as well. But hope you've enjoyed it. Until the next one, from me and Chris, love to you and your families wherever you are. Always Wolves.
Always Wolves.